This is January 10th, 7:01 p.m. I think that the thing I got on the 7th is for Saturday. And I'm supposed to keep what I just got today, this evening at 6:33, was something about foam, astral cosmic foam. Physics is being slowly reshaped. More accurately, the perception of what cosmic foam is will redefine, restructure what is now called physics. The slow and casual walk will transform into a canter, not a gallop, because it has too many risks in this reality to go any faster than what we already are. The other thing that I got, which I know there's a growing consensus of the simulation theory, and I think because so many people are on the fence of where we are, or even questioning who and what we are, that this theory of simulation is very popular, especially with the given media outpouring represents and is. Think about it. I'm going to say what's here, but ultimately we have to realize what the origination is. Then, because people want you to fall in line, they are going to give you reasons to support it. So what I got was flat out, we are not in a simulation. There is an attempt, however, to overtake the human biome or the human structure, macro and micro. And this is by an outside force. And I don't know what that is yet. It may not ever. So ultimately, I'm thinking I'm supposed to ask, not necessarily who and what, because who and what is causing this, because I think people get focused on the who and what and finger pointing. That to me is finger pointing. And because this is all just theory and conjecture, that we need to actually focus on what's important for us as humanity or humans. I mean, you can, pardon my French, you can fuck around with that verbiage all you want. But as far as I'm concerned, we need to, I see like a set of claws in earth and just digging right in and clinging on. It's not like loose earth. It's really compact. We need to have a solid earthing foundation with what we're trying to figure out what's going on here. Humanity possibly in a balance, whatever that means to you. Some people don't like humans, and they're human. But I'm kind of questioning that because the programming seems to be that even those who are human are so psychologically overthrown that they don't see it. They don't see the takeover. And I think that's the problem. The old frog in the pot that's simmering and boiling. And by the time you realize that you should have jumped a long time ago, that it's too late. You don't have the ability to jump out and out of the way and out of harm's way. There's no real answer as to how each individual is, or even whether they're supposed to jump out of harm's way. Some have consigned to not necessarily be in harm's way. That's not what it is. To be the buffer zone, to take the hit, to take the charge. Not a fall guy. Fall guys are different. Fall guys are ones that, for nefarious reasons, are set up, and those nefarious individuals come in and pull the rug out from under that other person. Doesn't mean that other person is innocent, because a lot of times those other people who take the fall were in the position that they are in because they were compromised, for money, for any kind of favor. All right. What am I supposed to pull for? Thank you. I'm getting like a bombardment here of what I'm supposed to make the inquiry on, because that was just a lot of information. And okay, so the most prevalent, most popular thing that is probably going to get people hopefully to do some self-examination and maybe some research on their own. When you do research, I'm reminded this, when you are doing your research, please research the researchers who've done the research. Right? Look at who's done the funding, and you might have to dig deep to kind of figure that out, right? So I guess the whole thing that is like the way I wrote it out is like separate. That says we are not in a simulation. And I'm gonna do some inquiry on it. I know that people like to use gaming as a terminology, as a foundation, because people understand that, like RPG and NPC, just FPS. If you're a gamer, you know what all those basic terms mean. And if you need to know what they are, just put something in either a chat or a comment. It'll have to be a comment because I'm not doing this live. So I'm kind of looking for some guidance right now as to which is going to be the best influence in answering that question. What are we in? If it's not a simulation, can that be expanded on? And this is kind of a deep freaking question, man. Are we in a simulation? If we are, how do we navigate this? And to a certain degree, because most people are familiar with games and gaming, that almost gives like a comforting aspect to it, because there are limits on it. Wow. And the other thing too is that some of us are in a simulation and some of us are not. And we're all in the same kind of cohesive place that we're calling a reality. Wow. So this is why these questions are often difficult to answer. Okay. So, all right. This is the perfect example, right? Okay, so that's what we're going to go for. And the one next to it is not the same, but it's more like a compass guiding key. Reminds me of the sea. Didn't mean to rhyme. I guess I did. All right. All right. So one of the things that I ask for is from the unified field, from the field of one, from the original thought, from the original word, and from the original source. Because we are clearly seeing, we are clearly hearing, and we are clearly speaking. All of these things are for the highest good. So we're looking for some clarity with conviction. You've basically already answered, are we in a simulation? Some are and some are not. We're also looking for an idea of how to navigate this, irrespective of what you believe. And you might be in a simulation and not believe it, and you may not be in a simulation. You know what I mean, though? It's kind of like twisted around. You might believe the opposite of your reality. I don't know how else to explain that. I'm tired. It's Friday. That's all I gotta say. All right. All right. So this is going to mean that some people, the fork in the road, some people are going to have to make some decisions. And decisions don't have to be difficult. He's passed away many years ago. He was a coach in football, American football, and he said, I think it was, anyway, I'm not going to say who it is. You'll have to look it up. You just have to look up who said, all right, and this is what he said. When you come to a fork in the road, take it. So in other words, make a decision. Don't dawdle. Do your research, look into it, and everything is okay. You know what I mean? Never seen a llama with antlers before. But yeah, make a decision. Otherwise, you're just going to stand there like a buffoon. And, you're either going to stand there and go, you got to make the decision. Make a decision. That was kind of mean. Sorry. Oh, gosh. And the only way you're going to make that happen, yes, it's make the preparation. You don't have a clear picture of the future. I don't know if you can kind of see that, but there's like a little doorway along the end of the path. It's kind of cloudy. You can't really see it. But there are things that this individual can't see. I don't think they can even see their frickin' feet. I mean, look at her. She doesn't, you can't see her feet. She's got like wings. I don't know if you can see like really lightweight wings. So it's almost like we have this etherical, if that's a word, support that we may sometimes be aware of, that we may not. Oh, we're going to have to be crafty with it because there's going to be a lot of mystery involved. And these are all new ideas, and we're still incubating a lot of the ideas that we may have as a collective as to who and what we are. Because let's face it, every single piece of information that you find on the internet, you have to look it up. Everything, 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 everything. And you have to look at the researchers who research the researchers. And you have to read all between the lines, and you can't just read the top and the bottom of the research. You have to actually take the time to understand. Pardon me, some people don't like that word, but that's okay. You have to come into a perspective because you don't have to, and it's not a good idea to understand, because if you understand, that means you've taken it and integrated it. You want to get under it and go through it and rise up through it in order for you to totally have a full concept of this soup that we're riding through. Look at that. It's like, was a British fog, they used to call it thick as pea soup, right? But you cannot necessarily do that as an observer. You're going to have to take the steps. Right? All right. Anything else? So these guys are, yeah. And it's gonna feel huge. And quite honestly, I think it is huge. We are at a crossroads as a species, as even if you go beyond that. Because if we're all connected, it's not just about humanity. I think humanity's success in overcoming what's going on is the linchpin to the rest of this place making it through. This is not about fewer children. This is not about this depopulation stuff. This is exactly the opposite of that, and taking a step back and re-looking at everything outside of the programming. Because if you're getting that from social media and you're getting that, you have to do your research. Make the decision. It's time to go on the road. But don't forget that you are observed and you are an observer. Oh my gosh. We're going to discover this. These disciples of this garden. Goblins. So use the goblins. The goblins aren't bad. Good and bad is a moral judgment. Some people aren't going to like that either. But goblins have a real purpose and a positive support system. And I don't think they're a bad situation. And whatever your influence is, or whatever your experience is with creatures that are, you feel have been unpleasant, you would put a moniker on that, calling it a goblin. I don't think that's accurate. I think that is also part of the programming system that we're in. Right? All right, maybe not right. I don't know, you guys, man. All right. Like I said, this is all about individuality and figuring out what in tarnation is going on with this whole idea of where we are and who we are, and this whole simulation theory. And maybe it's an attempt to switch your mind off of what you really are, because we are biomes, we are biological, and even this whole thing of a silicon thing and this whole idea of AI, this is all speaking to the same bit of business, because I can't say that AI and the silicon life forms are against us. I think it's this fear factor that these, carbon based is what we are, causes fear. Because it's unknown, right? That's just part of our structure at this point. Yeah, wow, wow, wow. So some may feel, I don't think people realize how far down this path we have gone. And for those of us on that patch of frickin' dirt at the bottom of this pit, or if you're on the path, some may keep going, some may say, I'm turning around, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get out of the bottom of the pit. This might be, for many, what you're trying to avoid is that dark night or that, oh gosh, that's going to be way too much work. Well, sometimes we got to go the hard path to get the good. Otherwise, we might end up doing a repeat of this till we get to the bottom and discover what's at the bottom. We might just get halfway down and go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. But really, what we need to do is go to the base, go to the root of the problem. And sometimes that might mean coming apart. That might mean, you know, having a little, again, dark night of the soul. It might mean foregoing people, places, and things, whether it's substances, like I said, or people, or visiting certain places. And it does turn into a balancing act. Oh my goodness, because no one's there to rescue you. We are here to rescue ourselves. However, we are supported. It doesn't show the bottom of that hill. And I think the other thing that we forget is that we do have the skill for us to get through. We have the skill to do that balance. Okay. I think that may have been it. Alrighty. I hope this helps someone.